Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. So today I'm trying something a little bit different. I invited a friend of mine, Léanne, to discuss neuromarketing. So we'll be doing some kind of like a podcast, and we'll discuss neuromarketing, neuroscience, and everything in between. So it's a casual conversation between two friends to discuss this topic that we like very much, which is how to apply brain-computer interface and to neuromarketing. So bonjour Léanne, how's it going?
Hi, bonjour. I'm good, and you? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Have a good year. So welcome to the React Technology Podcast. So me and Leanne are working together. We work almost on a daily basis together. And lately, what happened is we found the opportunity to maybe discuss a little bit neuromarketing. We like discussing neuromarketing, but the opportunity we saw was, instead of discussing it on our end, is to actually record ourselves and to share it with you guys, so you can be exposed a little bit to this field that is very interesting, that really links, in my case, brain computer interface into a very applied field, which is neuromarketing. So Leanne, before we go into over our discussion, can you define for the audience what is neuromarketing?
Yes, of course. First, I did my master degree in neuromarketing in a Barcelona school, and first, I will be always intrigued by marketing, but even more by the psychology behind it. And for a long time, I just didn't know what is neuromarketing because I didn't find a name to like define what I want, and it was neuromarketing. So, more concretely, neuromarketing is a discipline that studies brain activity and psychological response to better understand consumer behavior in marketing context. The goal is to identify the implicit of often the unconscious and the conscious of the brain, and it's driven by behind decisions, so we can improve the decision, the product, the experience design, the branding, the marketing strategy, and all over customer experience. And customer experience is really what I want to try to put neuromarketing on it.
That's super interesting. I think this is a very great application for computer interface. This is how I got there. Is that I see that there's so much interest into linking how the brain works with the field of marketing, and neuromarketing has been a field that exists for a few years now. Do you know when it came up, when the term was coined by any chance?
I think in Spain, and that's why I'm going. I went there for my studies because I think it's one of the first one to introduce neuromarketing, neuroscience in the marketing practice.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, but do you know how long the field existed? I mean, is it something that is 10 years old, 20 years old? Do you know?
I think it's more than that. It's like 30, I don't know, 20,
Okay.
20 years ago.
But you know, marketing has always been linked with neuroscience, but maybe not explicitly, but
Yeah.
marketing always has been about how do we talk with people, how do we share the message. So
Mhm.
implicitly, it has always been neuromarketing somehow.
Mhm.
So I think so maybe at some point someone came up with the terms to really like make it neuromarketing, but for sure, marketing has always been something that is linked with psychology and neuroscience, if it's implicitly. So today we're going to have like the way we plan things, guys, is only like a very casual discussion. We try to make it like into a forms of podcast, but no, really see it is we're just having fun. We just want to discuss the topic, so it's a little bit informal and casual. So I hope that the format will be enjoying for you guys. So, what triggered the recording today? What we decided to do today is in December, Leanne launch a series of posts on LinkedIn. I'll provide the link to Leanne's profile on LinkedIn in the description. So she launched a series of posts, which I thought was super interesting. It really reached me. It's linked with some stuff that I've been doing on my end, both as a student, PhD student back in the days, and in my professional practice. So this series of posts have been kind of a trigger for us even discussing more about the topic. So, Leanne, can you tell us a little bit about what was your your series of posts on LinkedIn?
Yes, I got the idea to create a neuromarketing event calendar based on the event calendar concept because I really like to um, through my own experience with it. So every day I go to shopping, I go take a coffee or open an event calendar. I try to decode my own brain and how neuromarketing is on me. So that's why I do this idea and I feel so many things that I want to decode on event calendar. So I want to demystify what was happening in my brain, the emotion, the habit loop, and the ritual it was creating for me. So early December, so like most adults who still have a bit of kid heart on it, um, see an event calendar inside one of my. I see one. I try a meditation app. And there they are event calendar on it, so I try it, and I'm surprised by that how I feel before even open the meditation of the day. A little desire, a sense of anticipation, and even a bit of guilty if I don't find a moment on my day to do it. So it's almost as my brain is saying, "Oh yes, this is your moment to do it today. So let's go." So that's why I try to did some posts to like decode myself, but to expose this to my contact and my LinkedIn on my LinkedIn page. And because an event calendar is not a product, is a complete behavior loop, a cue, a routine, a reward. And I see in the calendar, you open the day and you get a small moment of pleasure, and when you repeat it over time and over your years, the brain learns their association on it. So when you do it, you feel good, right? So that's great. Reinforcement. I don't know if I say the good word in English. Renforcement. It's just a very gentle, everyday form and a really good neuromarketing project. And what I love is that behind something that looks simple as just a calendar, like a box or an application or a cardio at your gym, you actually find really fundamental mechanism on it. So attention, novelty, reinforcement, learning, and the way your brain manage uncertainty.
I think that's super interesting. Yeah, you made me laugh a little bit because I think anybody who's in psychology, brain computer interface, now you said in neuromarketing, we always, as we learn about the field, we're usually our first test subject. We kind of like we start to study ourselves, and the same goes on for me. Like whenever I do experiment, or I do experiment as me as the subject, and then I see how much it translates to other people. So I just I thought it was funny. So through your advent calendar, what was interesting is you shared multiple concepts in neuromarketing, and what it triggered is even though we work together and we discuss it like here and there, when I was seeing the topics that and the way you were discussing the topics, what I've noticed is, hey, we have somehow the same kind of like applied knowledge, but we have very different background. I comes from engineering, then neurophysiology, and you come from a consumer science a formal training in neuromarketing, and it was really weird to see like, hey, we share the exact same knowledge space, but coming from two different directions. So this is kind of like what was the idea here, to kind of like bring together our backgrounds and see where it connects together. So I thought it was just like super interesting to see that there's multiple ways to basically reach neuromarketing, and it applies to other fields as well. But that no, you can come from a very heavy neuroscience or very heavy consumer science and still reach the same conclusions. And I think this is kind of like the goal of today's presentation, is to share our ideas, share pieces of information that we've gathered. Okay, everything is planned, guys. Okay, so we kind of like pick a few pieces of information that we wanted to share, but you see that even though we come from different fields, we reach the same conclusions. Um, uh, just to kickstart things, Léanne, can you share with us a little bit, how do you see the brain from your perspective?
Yes. If I can summarize the brain in one sentence, I'll say it's a machine built to collect information. And information isn't just fact, it's anything that reduce uncertainty and help the brain predict what's coming next. And from a neuromarketing perspective, the risk isn't only a biological brain organ, it's probably processor. So it's continuously wait, signal, update expectation, and use attention and emotion as tool to navigate uncertainty in the marketplace.
So, okay. So you see, guys, it's all a bit planned. So, Léanne, I'll move forward with the discussion. So what I have planned is to actually take from my background and bring a formal mathematical, bring the mathematical definition of what information is. And I think this is a very core concept of multiple science. Information is a very well-defined concept in math, but it's been used in astrophysics. It's used in neuroscience. It's given that it's a mathematical concept, it's something that holds in multiple sphere. So I'll just share my screen right here. So I build a little bit. So this is how we explain information, and you see that it links with many things that you explain. So uncertainty, there's a notion of randomness, and events, also events that and outcomes, and we'll link it with the brain. So what we use to introduce the concept of information is the simple head or tail. Okay, we in French we say pile ou face, but it's the same concept. So basically, what this is we flip a coin, and before the coin is flipped, Léanne, I offer you the chance. Do you pick head or tail? So which one would you pick if we do a coin flip?
Tail.
Tail. Now, it's actually funny because people will either be very quick because they've decided that for their whole life they will pick tail. But truth is there a better choice than head or tail? No, I mean, a coin flip is balanced. So a coin flip itself gives you more tail or head. It works. I mean, but what's interesting with the coin flip is that it's an unresolved situation. It can come out as tail, can come up as tail or as head. But what's important is that it's unresolved before it's being executed. Okay, and the head or tail will generate information through when it's resolved. We will get information about the situation. So a coin flip is 50-50. So each phase has the same probability of happening. Okay, it's a balanced system, and the way from an information theory perspective, what happens is at first, Léanne has no information about the outcome. Okay, when I say no information, means that it can be head or tail. She doesn't know. Both are equivalent. But after the results happen, we know the answer. Okay, so if I do a coin flip and the outcome is head, well, now we know that it's. If I was to ask Léanne after the coin flip to pick a side, she would pick the winning side because she knows the answer. So through this process, what's interesting is that we can quantify that. One coin flip represents one bit of information. One bit of information is the smallest discrete piece of information. By the way, it's the same bit that we find in computers. You see, so computers is the same type. Computer are information processing systems. One bit is 1 or 0, true or false. It's also if you flip a light on, off. Okay, it's the smallest discrete piece of information that can be measured. And a coin flip, before it's being executed, so there's from a coin flip, we can gain one bit of information, which is it on off or head or tail? So you see, so this is what one bit of information is. So before the event, the coin flip contains one bit of information, but after the coin flip is executed, the brain gained this one bit of information. That is, now it knows whether it was head or tail. So through a coin flip, the brain literally earns one bit of information. I think this is very interesting. Now, listen, just to flip, to mix things a little bit, instead of being a fully balanced system where it's 50-50, Léanne, ask you here, you see, you have face is now 25%, and tail is 75%. So which one will you pick now?
Tail.
Well, now Léanne, she has no hesitation because obviously tail has more probability of happening. She doesn't know all the information. We still don't know if it's going to be head or tail, but we have a very good cue that it's more likely to be tail. Now, if we do the math here, and I provided a link, you'll find it in the description as well. This can be computed. This can be analyzed as a system. And what we find is that in a system like that, the coin flip, where initially in a fully balanced system, maximum entropy system contained 1 bit of information, now the event only contains 0.81 bit of information. Now, the system will still collapse to 1 bit of information. So where is the extra information? Well, it's the brain that has it. The brain now, before the coin flip, has 0.19 bit of information, and Léanne's decision on head or tail was based on this prior information here on the 0.19 bit of information. So you see here, through an understanding, our brain understanding the system, gaining information prior to the event, was able to make an educated guess on the outcome. Okay, so after the collapse of the event, the brain will still get the extra information that was missing. And then at the end, we know the brain still has 1 bit of information because we now know if it's a head or tail. But here, between these two situations, the difference is when the coin flip is fully balanced, the brain has no prior information. And in the unbalanced system, the brain knows a little bit of information such that the decision is easier to make. Okay, and this is the whole mathematical background to how, in the context of a coin flip, the dynamics of information transfer between what the brain knows before the event and what the event, which has some randomness, will provide in terms of information. Now I'm linking this to see. So this is a conceptual explanation. I'm linking this to behavior. This is actually from my public paper I published in while I was a PhD student, and what I was looking into is subconscious learning. So that's super interesting because the brain will pick up information spontaneously from the environment, subconsciously even. Léanne, this is the experiment I had designed. So what I had built was a noisy classification task. So people were presented with images which were either birds or cars. Very easy to discriminate, okay? Birds or cars. And on top of it, I added a lot of noise, a special type of noise. It was called coherent noise that I could tune and decide how much noise there was going to be. So to tune the difficulty of the task. The subjects didn't know. They were only instructed that they had to say if it's a bird or a car. That was the entirety of the task. What they didn't know is that there was a hidden structure in the sequence of images. This car always came before this bird. Always, always. Okay? So to them, they were looking at a sequence of random image, but what they didn't know is that there were some pairing in the images. And what happened is that at the end of the experiment, and it's part of the protocol, I asked the subject, did you notice anything in the experiment? They said no. Did you notice any sequence in the images? They said no. They were so focused on the task itself, and the task was I wouldn't say quite difficult, but there was a level of difficulty that they didn't notice that there was a sequence in the images. But when we look at the psychometrics, they were faster for the second image of the pair, and they were also more accurate for that image. So what it tells us here is that subconsciously, their brain did see the prediction relationship between the two images, and their brain was able to use it to improve behavior, even though it never reached conscious learning. So we were able to teach the brain without the people noticing that we were teaching the brain. Now, it's not brain control. It's just the concept here that the brain will spontaneously observe the environment and pick up automatically relationships, even if we don't notice them. This is, by the way, one of the process. This learning mechanism is called statistical learning, and it's a mechanism that is seen as the basis of learning language learning. And this is how the brain, at least from my perspective, is the brain goes in the environment and picks up the bits of information here and there. The bits can be about, if we go to the basics, which is survival of the individual. Well, we'll pick up information about the good stimuli and pick up information also about the bad stimuli, obviously, because you only get like I said, I mean, you only learn to be careful about a tiger. You only get the chance to learn it once. I mean, there are a few things you need to learn very quickly. So that's the basically of the brain of picking up information from the environment. Léanne, how does this relate to neuromarketing?
First, it's so interesting. Really, it's a really good job you did, Fred. It was so interesting. And what makes neuromarketing so fascinating in it is just it's not about making something look pretty. It's about understanding what happened in the brain and the body when someone is exposed to a stimulus. So in neuromarketing, in the market, it's more like for ad, for packaging, for store experience, and how that translated into decision making and loyalty. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing as you did, but for the market. And concretely, if you want to reach the brand, there's two levels that work incredibly well together. Especially, it's something like my example in my advent calendar. So I expose two level or exposition. So maybe you can change for me the slide, please. Thank you. So the first level is ritual. So something like a ritual, it's something stable, repetitive, and reassuring. And from an attention standpoint, it's tap into what the brain already know and expect. That's closely linked into the dorsal attention network. It's the system that supposes goal-direct, intentional attention, and it helps us stay focused on a task and delivery direct attention, especially through visual spatial attention, basically prioritizing what we choose to process in our visual field. So in your example, it's the bird in the car. So it's linked with the dorsal attention network. And the second level is novelty and surprise. So it's something that creates a small gap between what I expect and what I actually receive. So, and this one is called the ventral attention network. And it's come the system that detects novelty and surprise, and it drive bottom-up attention and allow rapid shift toward unexpected and attention-grabbing stimulus. So in my calendar event, it's like you open your chocolate every day, and oops, today it was not a chocolate, it was like 2 chocolate. So it's grab attention in different way. And between this gap, we call a predictor error. It's full of learning, surprise force the brain to update its expectation. I have a little example. You can change my slide, please, Fred. So I I try with the chocolat favori advent calendar. I don't know if you know chocolat favori. It's an amazing brand with ice cream chocolate. I love that. And even before opening a day window, if you see the picture, there's a highly detailed visual in the event calendar. Like the visual, there's so much detail on it. So every time you open it, they create a novelty. There's a new surprise, and when you open it, it's like the same play as Où est Charlie? Where is Charlie?
Where's Waldo? In English, where's
Every
Waldo?
time you look at it, you have a new spot on new details, or you see something else, and that's keeping the brand universe longer. And the more attention you give something, the more likely it's to be to encode into memory, and the more you like the brand and the more you remember the brand for the next year.
This reminds me of cereal boxes that they have like the same kind of design, like I don't know, I have in my honeycombs that have like the same kind of patterns. And back in the days, we had like even we had toys in cereal boxes when you were opening. You know, there was always like so the idea here, I mean, is really to create this experience with the brand, but they use these kind of methods to deeply to better connect with the brain. What's interesting here? So you speak of novelty, you speak of rituals. So just linking here, I thought it was interesting here to see. I'm making a shoot out here to Calypso BCI, who's they use some of my products, and they recorded this signal here, which is called the P300. The P300 is a signal that emerged mostly parietal. So you see how it links with the dorsal network. This is the oddball. Probably is visual. I don't know if it's visual or auditory, but what you have is you have some stimuli that repeats. Okay, those are the standard signals, and every once in a while you have an outlier. Okay, one that stands out. It could be like, let's say you do a visual P300. What you could have is green dots that appears, and once in a while you get a red dot. If you want to make it a task pertinent, what you do is say, okay, count the number of red dots that appears on screen. So the task goes, and every time there's a red dot, it's something. It's a deviant. So it's something that you look at and that brings your attention. And in the brain, you will find. You see the stimuli onset is here. You'll get this response here. This is usually not so much modulated because it's such like early response. But this here is a top-down influence where the brain noticed that this stimuli is different from the rest, so it stands out. And this is a novelty signal, one of the multiple novelty signal that you'll find in the brain. And this novelty signal is even modulated by the statistics of the outlier. So if you have like so Abdal probability, if you find a something that is very rare, one out of 10, you see it's going to stand out a lot. If you have something that is a little bit more, you see here there's two stimuli, so 0.5 probability means half of the time it's not so much distinguishable. But then as you increase the oddity of the stimuli, you'll increase the amplitude of the signal here. So we see that the brain has these kind of mechanism indeed that reacts to novel event and something things that stands out. So we see here in conclusion that basically novelty is one of the items that will trigger some form of learning and modulate the learning. Obviously links back to the notion of information theory. I think you have here something about the emotions, how emotions also can contribute to learning.
Yes, exactly. And like we know how long that emotional like pattern can strain memories consolidation. So in the brain, the system involve emotion and modulate how strongly emotion event are stored and remember. So for example, an experience that trigger warm put nostalgia, you feeling a comfort, or you is just simply more likely to stick. And that is actually why brand that will repeated positive micro moment as an event calendar. You open something every day, so you have a repeat positive micro moment. Well, rather than just have a big chocolate one more time and you see just a one single wow moment, then to create a more durable, long time and a brand imprint in your mind. And you see like my picture, you can see how complex is to learn an experience, to have it in your mind and have emotion about it. So maybe, Fred, we can do another podcast on how like experience create emotion and where it go on the brain. But it's so complex, and when a brain try how to say create this association, they win. Like they do neuromarketing and they win. So yeah, so it's my little capsule about emotion here. Maybe you can add something.
There's definitely something that you say here. Indeed, the brain is complex. The brain, I mean, there's many concepts that we understand and that we know happens in the brain, but the brain has so many duplicated pathways and multiple like mechanism that are built on top of each other. This is why, by the way, sometimes no, if you take there's two main direction by which you can study the brain. There's the reductionist approach, where you can to build from the smaller components and try to build up your understanding of the brain. But you also have a top-down or holistic approach where you start more from the psychology of it, and then you try to bring down like how the brain works from the outside. And this is the challenge. Both situations is from a top-down mechanism perspective. It's often hard to discriminate between different systems that contribute to one effect, one behavior. And from a reductionist perspective, it's hard because there's so many pathways and everything that it's hard to bring like a holistic vision and how they all work together. So this is why both type of approach to understanding the brain needs to work together to reach the thing. So you were linking with emotions and learning. Now, I mean, this is me. One of my hobbies to go at the movie theater and record my emotional states while watching movies. So I just thought I was going to bring it's a little bit of like anecdotics, but a while ago I went to see 28 Years Later, which is a movie. I think it was I would have to check when it came out. The new the follow up, the sequel is coming in 2 weeks. I'll definitely go see it. But this movie was the third of the 28 series, so 28 days, 28 weeks, and now the latest 28 years later. And this is I've recorded my biometrics in this experiment. And what you find here is you see how this moment here stands out. I'll just explain the matrix. So here are my facial expressions, which technically is the one that relates the most to this emotional reactions. But these, in this specific movie, there are movies where we're very expressive. And this one, it was more of a slow burn, a little bit like very intense. But what we've noticed is first, there's cognitive engagement, is how much you're immersed in the experience, which was pretty good, but pretty consistent, I mean. But what stands out is this here. This signal here is EDA. It's called electrodermal activity. It's measured on your skin. And what EDA reflects is it measures the activation of your autonomous nervous system. It's the signal is generally associated with the lie detection test, by the way. And what we noticed here is that there was a moment that really stand out in the movie where this signal became really really strong. Now, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the movie, if you plan on seeing it, but what happens when I go in the movie is I actually have a camera that is installed on my eye. And I'll just show you, like, this is the scene. I still remember it, but the feeling you get during that scene, because it's overall, it's quite like a calm movie. But give me a sec. I'll just bring out the data. But this is the scene where there's a zombie, alpha zombie, I'd say, that runs after the main characters. And it's a very, very intense, sorry for the gore on screen. You see, it's about here. Okay, it's a very tense scene. You won't see very well because there's not a lot of lighting. But this is the place where the zombie runs after the main characters on a bridge that is like partially filled with water, and it's a very, very intense scene. I still remember it. That's the most memorable scene of the whole movie by far. And you see it registers with this type of data. There's also a scene at the end that registers well. Now, it kind of like showed up as fear. I'll be honest with you, it's mislabeled. It was more of a weird, funny scene. So I guess the expression was a little bit like, oh, that's weird. It was kind of like offbeat scene towards the end. I think it was very funny and kind of in a weird way. But so this one is also very memorable. But you see, the biometrics usually reveal which scene are very memorable, and this links exactly what you see. That is, it will modulate emotional expressions, or at least feelings, will definitely have an effect on how much you memorize something. And this is the type of information that is used in the field of neuromarketing. That is, this is what in neuromarketing, apply neuromarketing. I'll tell you why this is important, is because this is the information that you will communicate to others. I go to see a movie, I come out and I share with others, say, hey, the movie was so good. I remember this scene. And then you share it. And this is the word of mouth promotion where other people that hear you say, hey, you know what? I'll go see the movie as well. So this is one of the things that will happen in the context, or at least from the perspective of neuromarketing. This is what you want to do, is you want to create this relationship between the brand and the person. And they will use a multiple mechanism, but amongst which emotion can be used to create this binding between the audience and the brand, and the experience. So on this, Léanne, we have a little bit more time. I think we had planned to talk a little bit about reward. Do you want to go into this? I think reward also can be used to manipulate learning.
Yeah, it's really a brand that I really want to talk about. And if if I continue with my event calendar or anything example you have in your mind, um, I really love to talk about the reward, and especially the uncertainty of the reward, because there'll be something, but you never know exactly what, and that's why it's get interesting for a behavior and neuroscience point of view. Some reach show that variable reward and a reward that are not predictable can increase motivation and anticipation and the desire to keep engaging. So as a brain, the reward, the unpredictable uncertainty reward, it's a neuromarketing thing that you should maybe implement in your strategy. So the brain actually react more strongly to a maybe than a for sure. So this is what we call a variable reward schedule. So if you don't know when the reward will come or what form it will take, but you know it will come eventually, you will be more engaged. And in a wild design, like an event calendar, this isn't just about excitement. It's also help build brand memories, and it's a bit linked with my other picture about the memories and the experience. So each interaction become a small emotional moment, and the brand become a part of a daily routine. And the emotion you feel, like surprise, curiosity, pleasure, um, like you're really stay in it really stay in your memories, and you feel like you're with the brand and you like it. So people don't just remember the content or the gift, they really remember how the brand made them feel, po- some more than positive than negative. um so that's why it's really important that this type of mechanisms need to be used with care in the brain. um there's no manipulation in it. It's just how you can um, understand more your consumer. So it will, you of course, there's some limit on it. You can lead to compulsive behavior, especially when uncertainty is pushed too far just to keep attention. So the idea isn't just to push harder, it's just to design experience that are more conscious, more human, and more respectful of how our brain work and how your customer think and want. Um,
I agree, and but I think reward. I mean, in regard to this, I think reward. Uh, it, it 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 works also to guide the direction of learning. I'd say it definitely modulates learning, but through statistics, it tells you like what you should learn, and sometimes I mean there's also like noxious stimuli that will move you away, learn but not to do it basically. Hey guys, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsors. DFSA is the customer experience management firm. Their team of experts can help you increase customer satisfaction. Why is that important? Customer satisfaction leads to customer retention. If you have a business, you know it, it's much more effective to keep your existing customers than to attract new ones. DFSA will help you set up your voice of customer and your voice of employee programs to understand the factors leading to friction and satisfaction. They will train your team to turn this information into actions. They are passionate, experienced, innovative. I've worked with them on multiple mandates. They're always a blast to work with. You won't find a better team on the market. J360 is your AI agent for customer experience management, embedded in a platform that proposes industry news, personalized dashboards, team management, VOC analysis in the form of customer journey or categories. You can connect multiple VOCs, such as online reviews, multiple survey platforms, and social media. How long will it take to extract insights from all this VOC? With J360, AI does the heavy lifting. You get rank actionable insights so you know where and how to act to improve and maintain a high level of customer satisfaction. J360 comes with its own AI-powered CX Manager agent. It knows your industry, it knows your data, it knows your strategic vision, it's aware of your personal capability. So it can answer all your questions to help you define the best strategy for you and your team. If you don't have a customer experience management platform, do like other satisfied customers and reach out to J360. This is the one-stop point to manage your customer experience. This is something that it is brought up a few times here and there. I had this discussion. I had people who reached to me and really to ask this specific question. So you already provided a part of an answer, but is it ethical to do neuromarketing? There's an ethical question about this. That is, some people might have a sense of that it's cheating people, that we use neuromarketing to cheat people into buying stuff they don't need and stuff like that. Now, of course, there's neuromarketing that can be used in the wrong way. I think that the dark side of neuromarketing is probably gambling. Okay, but let's say if we're just like not in the context of gambling, not in the context of addiction or pathological behavior. If a brand wants to use neuromarketing, what does it want to achieve, and is it ethical? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's an important point, and every time I'm talking about neuromarketing, I write a blog or I do a publication or I talk with someone. I always talk about the ethical part of it because it's scary, but I promise it's not scary if it's used properly. And the strategy is okay, so don't worry about it. Is that a mind control? It's just scientific. And it's not to just like buy a button, genre, I don't have example, but just put a button on the brain and click on it and like my customer will buy. No, it's more importantly it's more than the knowledge and how we use it. So the ethical issue that's come up all the time in neuromarketing are privacy, confidentiality, consentment, people autonomy, scientific limit. Is not the same thing as we already live with AI or some marketing firm or some survey or something like that. So it's the same thing as the marketing strategy or the AI consentment for the moment. It's just the way we use it. So there's some practice we can do for like a following scientific standard we can do, like protecting the integrity of the field, not overselling the conclusion behind what the data actually show. The goal is just to be responsible and transparent for the client, for your customer, for yourself, and just keep in mind that it takes rigor, be transparent, and if you do it as a good human and be clear, it will be okay. So it's the
I
way we
think
use
you know
it,
what,
and yeah.
the way you brought it, Léanne, is super interesting. I think okay, I think the basics of neuromarketing is basically to understand the brand has a message that it wants to share with the market, and neuromarketing is just to help this brand use how the brain, our knowledge about the brain, to better communicate this message. And you know what? I mean, if the brand has a bad message, I mean, of course, no marketing, but any type of marketing can be used. But the issue is not with the no marketing, it's with the message. If a brand wants to communicate bad habit and stuff like that, and it uses no marketing, the issue is not with the no marketing, it's really the brand. Hey, your ethics of the message you want to communicate is bad, regardless of how you do it. And I think that's a really good way to discriminate between what is neuromarketing, what is the intention behind it, and And neuromarketing is really this goal of establishing this channel of communication between the consumers and the brand. The brand wants to create experience. They want, I mean, this is marketing. Brands wants to be recognized. They want to be, they want the consumers to go towards them, to experience them. But a very good brand needs this kind of tools to be able to filter through the noise. And neuromarketing is basically just a
Okay.
framework by which we can work through this. On my end,
Yeah.
Leanne, if what I think is nice also, but this video is a good example of that, is that we're also working on our end to communicate about these the neuromarketing. And I think personally that the fact that we discuss it, the fact that we present this, also helps the audience, the consumer, to be more aware about how marketing works and how to take more, I'd say, reasoned decision instead of more emotional decisions based on what they want. So it's kind of like a little bit of like the ethics here is that by simply sharing and discussing these topics, it helps people to understand how these mechanisms work so that they can decide for themselves and be a little bit more resilient for against some of the brands that abuse maybe of these mechanisms. So that's kind of like my way of seeing that it's important to discuss it because it helps people better understand what's going on in terms of how the brands are
Exactly.
working around them.
The goal is
Um,
not to in the goal is not to understand the brain to manipulate it. It's just to be one step forward to understand them, understand them before they say it or before they leave your brand. So it's just to understand your customer, your client, and to be a more doing a better client experience before they just leave you or they say to you. So it's just another neuromarketing has different tools than like a marketing firm or experienced client firm like survey, etc. etc. Use biometry. We have different other tools that just the client didn't have to say something. They just have to live the experience and just be a client, and you will know a lot of things about them. They didn't know they'll need your product or something like that. So it's really ethical if you do it right.
um, on a concluding note, sorry. Léanne, you work for Daniel Fournier's Stratégie d'affaires, DFSA.
Exactly.
Daniel Fournier is a great friend of mine as well. And you're using in your practice, you're using the equipment by my company, React Technologies. So I'm saying this, Leanne, if someone hears the podcast here and wants to discuss with you first, or maybe get involved, maybe look at how marketing can contribute to their marketing team or build a strategy based. But before neuromarketing is a tool, is a framework. But before that, you're basically offering marketing tools, marketing services. If we if we remove the neuro just
Exactly.
for that purpose, so anybody. But can you define a little bit, help people see how they should to reach you? I'll give you links in the description. But what should be the trigger to go towards you and hire you to develop a project with you?
Yeah. Um, for the moment, I'm a consultant in neuromarketing, so I'm open for every project. So you have a question, you want know more information about neuromarketing, you have a project you have in your mind and you didn't know how you can take it on the mat or something like that, just come up to me and we will talk and maybe it will create something nice. Um, but if I can do just a little pitch about neuromarketing and to convince you it's a good idea to introduce neuromarketing in your brand, um, is that, as you say, like today, a lot of business have a problem is they invest in marketing, but they struggle to capture emotion, to capture attention, to build a strong loyalty and with our customers. So um, I help just business to understand what their customer think, feel, and decide beyond what they see in survey. So my approach is bridge science and marketing and customer experience and combine customer psychology, neuromarketing tools, and customer experience to uncover a hidden driver that shape attention, memory, and decision making for your customer. So in practice, this can include like strategy, sensory optimization, um, immersive workshop, emotional response analysis to test campaign or customer journey. And it will always guide by one clear principle: rigor, ethic, and transparency. So we create experience that we are more human, more memorable, and that's cover better for your loyalty. That's my
I
pitch.
say you can both help a company to develop their marketing strategy
Exactly.
and their advertisement and their experience. I like how you
Yes.
make the link. I think everything can be an experience if you put your heart on it. And
Exactly.
but you can also even help marketing teams who don't necessarily have like are fully up to date on this framework that can maybe just like think things a little bit differently and just boost a little bit the efficiency of their campaign on top of what they already know and what they already put in action. I mean, just having someone that comes with this new perspective and this different perspective can shake a little bit the framework and maybe make a few things comes on top and help better communicate with the audience.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and you could be it could even happen that now let me make the link with brain computer interface because we work together like I said, and I explain a little bit where brain computer interface are involved in neural marketing. So what happens in neural marketing is sometimes, I mean, you have two ways. So basically you have a framework that you can use, so a base of knowledge is established and can be put in practice. But even when this happens, even if you have like a good understanding of what are the best practice, there are a few places where sometimes you want to do a little bit better. Sometimes you have to develop knowledge. So we work with in research. We can help research lab to develop. There's still so many things to learn, so we can help develop new knowledge. But sometimes you want to test. I mean, you can have like A/B testing is a form where you want to see which one of these two format communicates better. Sometimes, I mean, when an experiment is complex, an experience is complex. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Okay, amongst the five or six cues that we gave the audience, which one is the one that really triggers memorization and which one is going to be remembered. So this is where my company comes in. We have like tools and methodologies to really dig into measuring emotional and cognitive experiences to link with validate the hypothesis, confirm some elements, or even investigate situations where you're a little bit like, okay, we don't know where the anchor points are or where the friction points are because it can link the problem the basics are simple, but when you link neuromarketing concepts with personas, psychographies, demographies, now you have like um, uh, 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 40 different types of people that will be exposed to your message. How each of these type of people will pick up the message? Is there some grouping that emerge, and so, which part of the message do they get, and how strongly do they get it? This is where we come in. We have tools to measure in situ. So with the Hermes here, we can measure the experience as people go about the experience. I use it as I showed in movies, and then we have Lucidus Insights, which is a webcam based solution that will capture expressions remotely, so we can test ads, we can test various type of content, even we say neural marketing, but even if you do like formation content, it can be used as a way to see how well my formation content is being received by the audience, which is exactly the same concept as if it was an ad. And this adds to all the tools that can be used. Now we think of surveys, focus groups, all this mixed in together in terms of what can be done to investigate and confirm that the principles are well aligned with the audience. You see here, this is the Hermes. You see, this is a little stand that you have sometimes here. You have it at Costco or stuff like that. It's part of the experience. Right? It's a place where you create a stronger connection between the brand and the people. This is Danielle, by the way. Actually, that's Danielle that wears the equipment as he does experiment. And Danielle is in customer experience management, and this is he use a tool as a way to evaluate experiences. Um, This being said, Leanne, this is the end of our I say podcast. I don't even know if it qualifies as a podcast, but basically this is the end of our meeting today. It was a pleasure. Thank you a lot, Leanne, for joining in. It was I think we had a great time. I'm very happy of that we had this opportunity to share our passion. I mean, literally our passion with other people. If you feel free to reach me or Léanne, if you have questions about career, if you want to get involved in that field, if you want to request services, I mean, we're people who are very open, always happy to connect with people and share more information. So feel free to reach out, even in the comment section on this. Remember, like and subscribe, please. Léanne, do you have a concluding remark? I'm throwing this under the you're under the gun. So you have a concluding remark to close this recording?
No, just to say thank you to invite me in your podcast. It was such a pleasure. It's my passion too, so I really want to talk more about neuromarketing. So thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, like, share, comment. See you on another podcast.
Let us know if you have any questions regard to neuromarketing. Me and Léanne, we work often together. So, I mean, if there's an opportunity, if we want to, we will definitely make another recording at some point. But if you have some questions that you would like us to discuss, stuff like that, that'd be amazing. Let us know. We'll be happy to oblige. On this, Léanne, I wish you an amazing day and thank you for participating.
You too. Have a good day. Bye,
Okay, bye
guys.
bye.